Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to continue with our playthrough of Dawn of the Zeds. This is going to be episode 3. I apologize for the delay in getting the third episode posted, but I've been a little bit under the weather as of late and I'm finally recovered enough to resume filming. So let's see how we do today with this third episode. In the previous episode, we were able to acquire a couple extra characters, namely Wilson the Hermit and Big Wheels Carter. And Big Wheels Carter ended up to be quite helpful to us. Not only did he have his cargo hauler ability, where we were able to generate some supplies and some ammunition from that, but he was able to plow through a lot of those Zeds, and that came in quite handy. So we'll see if we can continue with the success. Currently we have 8 supplies and 2 ammunition, and our infection level is at 4. So we'll begin with our next event. And the event is revealed to be Utter Chaos. Okay, we're going to begin with for our phase we have 1 point. So we'll see if we can get any of our fleeing refugees back to town. And I think most definitely we're going to take the fleeing refugees that are in the farm, move them into Route 2. And we'll leave Wilson the Hermit there to defend the farm area. Next is the infection phase, and we have to roll 2 dice. And current infection level is at 4, so we need higher than 4. And we rolled a 2. Okay. So we're going to decrease our infection by 2, down to 2, and then we will have to have an outbreak. Okay, we're going to have to draw a fate card and see where the fated track is. This time it is in the suburbs. Okay. So we're on the suburbs track, and the most advanced space with chaos is East Iric, so we'll be drawing a random Zed and placing it there. Okay, this time we've got a level 4 Zed. Okay, that's not too bad. Could have been worse. Now that fate card also has a play this card notation on it. It says Alpha Zed emerges. Place the leader marker on the strongest, closest to town center if tied regular Zeds unit. Then activate its track, moving all Zeds on it normally. Until eliminated, the Zed leader unit receives 1 column shift to the left in hand-to-hand combat. Okay. Well, the most advanced Zed on the board would be one of these Zeds in Red Labs 3. That's the closest to the town center. So it's going to have to be one of those 2. And that's going to be that level 5 Zed. So we'll give him the notation on that. And the card also says that the track is now activated. All right. So the tunnel track will activate now. We got 2 Zed units in the catacombs, so we'll have to roll for each. So they have to move separately because there is that stacking limit in the tunnels. We'll start out with the level 5 Zed. Let's see what happens to him. He rolls a 4, and that is he must remain there, so he'll stay. The level 3 Zed is lost. Okay, so we're going to have to make another roll. So we're going to make a die roll, and that Zed is going to appear on that space on the tunnel track, the same as whatever we roll. Now, if we roll the same location, in this case 3, that Zed unit will be lost forever. So here's the roll. Rolls a 4. So he's going to appear in Dr. Martus's office. That's where it would be. Now we have a stacking limit. So can't go there. Next closest would be into the catacombs, I guess, in back of that. I'll have to see how that works. Make sure I'm doing that right. Yeah, that's correct. He's going to go to the nearest space that he can stack to. So now we will continue on. We've got this 4 strength Zed in Dr. Martus's office. That will move into the catacombs. Super Zed is going to move into Dr. Martus's office, and the 6th strength Zed is going to move into the catacombs, and that will finish the activation of that track. Next part of the card is the eat phase, and we're going to have to consume 1 supply. It'll move us from 8 down to 7, and now the Zeds will activate. It'll be the forest track, the suburbs track, and the mountain track. And it says here, each named space that becomes Zeds controlled in this turn receives 2 chaos markers instead of 1. You can only remove 1 per turn, as usual, during the housekeeping phase. All right, so we'll begin with the forest track. So the forest track will activate, and we've got this damaged 3 strength Zed is going to attempt to enter the space with Wilson the Hermit. And right now it is at Zed's advantage, and he's going to get a 1 column shift to the right for the farm, so that'll bring us up to equal to, and we'll see what happens here. See if there's any special abilities that Wilson the Hermit might be able to use here. Nope, not in this case. So we'll make the roll and see how he does. Okay, the roll is a 9. A 9 is 2 Zeds damage, 1 to Wilson, and then the Zeds have to withdraw. So they're going to take 2 hits. 1 hit is going to flip them over, and then they're going to take an additional 1 on top of that. They have to retreat back. He's going to take 1 damage, and he'll hold the field. Now we have a 5 strength Zed. He's going to move up into St. Thomas. All right. Now the suburbs track will activate. And we've got a 4 strength Zed in East Irick, and he's going to attempt to enter the space with Deputy Schmidt. All right. So we've got a 4-4 that is equal to. Deputy Schmidt is going to gain 1 human advantage. Let's see what other advantages he might have. Well, he has Eagle Scout. It's going to allow him an extra movement to the right, giving him human ×2. And he also has martial arts, and it will allow him to re-roll if he doesn't like the roll that he has. So that's where we're at right now. He's at human ×2. Here's the roll. Rolled a 6. A 6 on human ×2 is 2 losses to the Zeds, 1 to us, and the Zeds would have to withdraw. I could exercise that reroll. I think we'll just accept it. We're going to get the Zeds 2 hits, and they will retreat back to where they came from. Deputy Schmidt is going to take 1 wound, but now he has tough. He's going to get a D6 roll, and on a 4, 5, or 6, he can ignore the hit. Here's his tough roll. He's got a 6, so he can ignore the hit. That was great. And these Zeds now are pushed back to East Irick from whence they came. And finally, the mountain track is going to activate, and we've got a 7 strength Zeds mob in the Lucky Strike mine. They're going to move into Trail 3, and that's going to be the end of the activations. We are going to get 3 activations per the card, and we'll see what we can do about all this. Well, I think we are going to spend 1 activation point, and we're going to activate Rusty Staub, and we're going to see if we can put some of his crossbow abilities to use. He has 4 movement points. So I think we're going to have him go up the highway track. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll have him move into the nuclear plant. Now Rusty has a special ability called Crossbow Armed. His first gunfire attack each turn costs 0 ammo. It still costs 1 action. So we're going to spend another action, and we will have him do a crossbow attack on that 11 strength Zeds mob. He has a gunfire attack of 4. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, here is the roll. He rolls a 4, and that is nothing. That's not good. All right. And I think he's going to spend another action. That'll eliminate all of our actions on the card, and we'll spend 1 ammo and try another gunfire attack with his crossbow. Okay, here is the roll. Rolls a 6. That'll be 1 hit. And I think what we'll do is apply that to this heavily damaged Zed, and that will flip that over. And that cut it down to an 8 strength Zed's mob, so that was a little bit helpful. I think next we'll take a look at Sheriff Hunt. He's wounded in the town center. I'm going to have him use his leadership token, and he's going to activate the town unit, and we'll have them do a foraging roll. And we'll see if they can maybe get something that we can be helpful to us. We'll be using the town center roll, and here is the dice roll. Rolled a 6, and we have a choice between a supply or an ammo, and we will take the ammo. That moves our ammo up to 2. That is great. All right. I think to generate some more ammunition, we're going to use Bob Bauer's explosive devices token. And we'll spend that, and that will allow us to convert 2 supplies into another ammo. We're up to 3 ammo and 5 supplies now. I think what we're going to do is use our player action token, and we're going to use that to activate Big Wheels Carter. He's currently in the town center. He has a total of 5 movement points, and he's going to move out down the mountain track. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to move into the trail 3 with that Zed's mob, and he's going to attempt to use his Zed's plow ability. So he's going to roll a d6 on a 4, 5, or 6. He's going to inflict 1 wound on each Zed's unit present, and then he can continue moving. Otherwise, we have to fight. Here's the roll. He rolled a 2, so he's failed, and he's going to have to combat that 7 strength Zed mob in that location. All right, Big Wheels has that special ability called King of the Road, and we don't have to worry about raising infection levels when he engages in hand-to-hand combat. So right now we've got 8 to 7, and that's going to be human advantage. And we'll make the roll and see how he does. Here is the roll. The roll is a 5. I don't know if that's going to be enough. A 5 is 2 hits apiece, and the Zeds have to withdraw. All right. Well, we're going to apply 1 hit to the damaged Zed. It's going to take that out. Second hit will be applied to the existing Zed, and he will withdraw to the Lucky Strike mine. So we've made a counterattack. But now, Big Wheels is going to take 2 hits, and he has the room to take 2. All right, that's where he's at right now. Okay, the only viable action I have left is to use Deputy Schmidt's initiative token. We're going to use that, and I'm going to spend 1 ammo, putting us down to 2. We'll make a gunfire attack against this damaged Zed in East Irick. All right, Deputy Schmidt is at a 4. Is his gunfire attack. Here's the roll. Rolled a 10, and that is 3. He's got 3 hits on that thing. That is great. So 1 hit is going to flip it, and 2 more hits will go on that unit. It was a good attack for us. And that's going to bring our actions phase to a close. Now, we'll move on to our housekeeping phase, and all of our tokens will be returned to us. We do have some problems on the board, though, and namely on our forest track. There's a 5 strength Zed and a damaged Zed in St. Thomas, and if that activates, they're going to be moving into the farm against Wilson the Hermit. So it's not going to work very well for us, but we'll have to hope that that track does not activate. That'll conclude the housekeeping phase, and we'll move on to a new round. All right, our next event is Disaster at the Lab. Okay, we've got a 4R of 1. Let's see what we can do with that. Well, I guess we'll use that to move this fleeing refugee from the campground to Trail 1. Next is the infection phase. Our infection level is at 2. Here's the roll. Rolled an 8, so we're good. Third is the eat phase, and we currently have no one at the hospital and no one in the refugee camp, so we're good. Now it's the Zeds activation. It's going to be the highway track and a double activation on the tunnel track. All right, the highway track activates. We've got an 8 strength Zed mob in Interstate 4, and it's going to move towards the nuclear plant, which is defended by Rusty Staub. So right now we've got a total of 8 to 4. That means that it is at Zeds times 2. Rusty's going to gain a 1 column shift for the defensive benefits. That moves it to Zed's advantage. Let's see if there's anything else that Rusty can do. Nope, not at this point. His hand-to-hand strength increases to 5, and gunfire strength decreases to 2 when he's wounded. Okay, well, that doesn't apply yet. So that's where we're at. It's going to be a Zed's advantage hand-to-hand combat. And here is the roll. We rolled a 9. A 9 on Zed's advantage is both sides are going to take 2 losses, and the Zeds will have to retreat. All right. So 2 losses. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll take both losses on this 6 strength Zed. It'll flip them, putting the total strength down to 6, and then it will have to withdraw. Unfortunately, Rusty is going to take 2 hits, and we'll see. He has a special ability called Rugged. Each time he receives a hit, we can roll a die, and a 5 or 6, it's canceled. So we'll see if he can cancel one or both of those. So we'll roll 2d6, and we're looking for 5s and 6s. Well, he canceled one of them, so that's good. So he'll take 1 hit. He's still alive, and now he's going to gain a benefit because he's wounded. His hand-to-hand strength will increase to 5, and his gunfire strength decreases to 2 when he's wounded. Okay. Now we have a double activation on the tunnel track. And we're going to begin with these Zeds that are in the catacombs right now. We'll start out with the 5 strength Zed, which has that leader bonus. Okay, they're going to make the catacombs roll. Rolls a 3, he'll move normally. So he is going to move into that space. Next one is the 4 strength Zed. He rolls a 2. He would move normally, but he can't. So he will remain where he is. Super Zed is going to move into the catacombs, and this Zed mob will move into Dr. Martuse's office. That is the first activation. Now we've got a problem. We've got a 5 strength Zed with this leader ability, which gives them column shift to the left when attacking. And they are going to be attacking that security detachment in Red Lab 1. That's not good. That is going to be 5 to 4. And that is a Zed's advantage. Plus, they're going to gain 1 extra because of the leader. And that's Zeds times 2. This is not going to be good. Here is the roll. Roll is an 8. And that ends up to be 1 loss on the Zeds, 2 on us, and we have to retreat. All right, so the Zeds will take 1 loss. We have to take 2. First loss is going to flip us. Second loss will be applied, and we have to retreat. It'll move us to the town center basement. That is going to be a problem for us. Now the other Zeds will activate in order. We'll start out with the Super Zed. Make the catacomb roll. A 6, it's lost. So we'll make another roll. If we roll a 3, the Zed is lost forever. Rolls a 1. So it is going to appear in Red Labs 1. Yeah, that's where it's going. But it can't do that because there's a stacking limit, so it has to go back to Red Labs 2. All right. Now the Zeds mob in Dr. Martus's office will attempt to move. There's unlimited stacking in the catacombs, so both of those are going to move into the catacombs. Did I roll for that one? I'm going to have to check to see if I've advanced that Zed or not. One moment. No, I never attempted to move that unit, so we should do that now. Make the catacomb roll for that 4-strength Zed. Roll is a 2 and it would move normally, but it can't, so it'll stay in the catacombs. All right, that's going to complete the Zeds activation. We'll move on to our activation. We have 2 activation points and a special condition. Okay, we have to make a die roll, and it says on a die roll of 6, there'll be no effect. Otherwise, we have to add a random early research card to the top of the research deck. All right, here's the roll. Rolls a 3, so we'll be adding an early research card to the top of the deck. All right, so I've added that extra early research card to the deck, and now we're going to commence our actions. All right, we've got 2 actions plus our tokens, and I think we really need to get Big Wheels rolling here to try to get some supplies for us. And if he would be able to get to the start space on the mountain track, he'd be able to load up, and when he returns back to town, we'll gain all those benefits in supplies and ammunition. The problem is he's already got 2 hits on one side. Now he does have a repairs ability, and I'm going to read about that real quick. Net reads, Carter never suffers hits, the truck does. However, after receiving 6 hits, he gets a saving roll. If successful, he enters the hospital where, after 1 heal, he's discharged. He can repair the truck in the town center or a start location using 1 supply or 1 action per hit removed. That's going to take a little effort. I'll have to think about that. Well, I think the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to spend 1 action and we're going to activate Wilson the Hermit. And he has a shortcut ability. As a part of a move action, Wilson can move from any space of the same numbered space on an adjacent track for 1 movement point. So he could move to space 3 on any track that we choose. That would be 1 option, or we can activate him for his regular move of 4 points. Well, I think we'll just use his normal activation points. He's got 4 moves. We'll move him 1, 2, 3, 4 into the town center. I think at this point, Sheriff Hunt is going to use his leadership token. We'll have him activate the unit in town center, and we'll have them do a foraging roll. And here's the foraging roll. Rolls a 1, and that is nothing. All right. Well, we definitely have to do something about this Zeds unit with the leader in Red Labs 1, so I'm going to spend an action and 1 ammo. Puts us down to 1 ammunition. We'll have this security guard detachment make a gunfire attack on him. And he has a rating of 3, so we'll need a higher roll here. Here's the roll. We rolled a 12. That is great. And that's 2 points of damage. That is great. So that will take 1 and 2 will flip the unit. That's where he's at. All right, that was pretty good. And I'm kind of desperate here, so I think we're going to use the player action token. We're going to activate Big Wheels. He's got 2 wounds on him right now, and he's going to attempt to get to the start space where he can reload the truck. So he'll start out by a move action into the Lucky Strike mine, and we'll see if he can use his Zeds plow to run over some Zeds. Okay, we need a D6 roll of 4, 5, or 6. Here's the roll. Rolls a 1, so we'll have to fight a combat. And right now it is at 8 to 4, so we've got human advantage. I'm sorry, human times 2. Human times 2. All right, we'll make the roll and see what happens. Here's the roll. We rolled a 4. That's not so good. A 4 on human times 2 is each side is going to take 2 hits, and the Zeds have to withdraw. All right, 2 hits are going to flip the Zed, sending it back to Lefty's Pass. And now Big Wheels has to take 2 hits. 1 hit is going to flip him, and another hit is going to go on the truck. And that's where we stand right now. All right. Well, we don't have much ammunition left. I've only got 1 ammo. So I think what I'm going to do is have Deputy Schmidt use his initiative token, and we're going to activate him, and he's going to launch a counterattack into East Iric. He'll be attacking at 4 to 2, which will be human times 2. And we'll see how we can do here. All right. Okay, here is the roll, human times 2. Rolled a 7, and that is 3 hits on the Zeds, 1 on us. So 3 hits will go on the Zeds. That is going to take that Zed unit out. And 1 hit would go on Deputy Schmidt. Now he has that tough ability. On a 4, 5, or 6, he can avoid the hit altogether. Here's the roll. Oh wait, he also has Eagle Scout. He should have gained an extra column. That would have moved it up to human times 3 with a roll of 7. That would be 3 hits to none. So that's even better. So he's retaken East Iric. That is great. Outstanding. Now that counterattack by Deputy Schmidt would have raised the infection rate by 1. That moves it up to 3. And during the housekeeping phase, Deputy Schmidt is going to restore order in East Iric. We'll remove the chaos token, but that's also going to raise the infection rate by 1 up to 4. All right, we're going to reclaim our tokens during the housekeeping phase, and we'll get ready for another event. All right, here is our next event. And this time it is Alien Artifact Found. All right, we've got 2 points in our 4R phase, and it says at the beginning of this phase, make a fate draw and a die roll. We have to place a new Super Zeds unit on the die roll space of the fated track. Okay, and then we would turn over the next card in the research deck for free. All right, well here's the fated card, and that's going to be at the most Zeds units. Okay. Well, the most Zeds units are in the tunnel track. So we're going to have to make a die roll, and that's where a Super Zed is going to appear. All right, here's the roll. Rolls a 1. So we'll make a Super Zed draw. Let's see what we come up with. And this time it is a a 7 strength Zed, and it has the key letter of B. So let's see what that is. I think that's a behemoth. Nope, that's listed as a berserker Zed. These Zeds are relentless, wide-eyed, and totally predictable in their tenacity. If the Berserker Zeds unit attacks and wins, it immediately advances another space. Repeat as necessary, in the same manner as Zeds do during a Brains event. In effect, this unit is on permanent quest for brains. Fortunately, the zeal of the Berserkers have for brains does not extend to the other Zeds. If it is part of a Zeds mob, it splits off from the mob for any additional movement, leaving the other Zeds behind as it advances. All right. Well, the Zed can't go on space 1 because of the fact of the stacking limit. So we'll have to keep placing it back until we find a spot that it can fit, and that's going to be in this catacombs area. All right. Now this alien artifact found is going to kick in, but we have to deal with this. We're going with another plan. Play this card. Designate each unit in the refugee camp, if any, and roll a die. Well, we don't have any there, so that's good. So that card is fulfilled. Now we have to draw our next research card. And this one is Pamphlets Distributed. Heal up to 2 civilian units by 1 hit each with normal infection decreases. It reads, when veteran reporters from the Clarion Courier went to the lab for a story, they realized that there was something they could do to really help, and that was to get the word out and help people prepare. All right. So we can heal up to 2 civilian units by 1 hit each with normal decreases in infection. Well, I don't know if we've got any civilian units that are wounded. Yes, we do. Well, we have a civilian unit in the Farmingdale University. We can heal 1 point from that. That will decrease the infection level. We also have one on the mountain track at the campground. And if we heal a point there, that will flip it over with 1 damage. All right, so that was helpful for us, and that will also drop the infection level down to 2 now. Next is the infection roll. Current infection level is 2. So as long as we can roll higher than a snake eyes, we'll be in good shape. And we've done it. Okay. Eat phase, we have nobody in the hospital or in the refugee camp. Now the Zeds are going to activate twice on the highway track and once on the tunnel track. Okay, we'll start with the highway track, the first of 2. 6 strength Zeds mob is moving on the nuclear plant. We have a wounded Rusty Staub, and he has that special ability, Ferocious, and that's going to increase his hand-to-hand combat up to 5. So right now we are at 6 to 5. That would be Zed's advantage, and he's going to gain 1 for the nuclear plant, so we are at equal to. All right, let's see what happens. Here's the roll. The roll is a 6. A 6 on equal to. Zeds will take 1 hit. Rusty's going to take 2, and he has to retreat. All right, Rusty has rugged, so he'll be able to roll a die for each hit, and he can avoid the hit on a 5 or 6. Here's the roll. Well, he hasn't avoided either of them. So Rusty is going to have to do a saving roll. And we'll see. It says here he's lucky. When Staub makes his saving roll, he can roll 2 dice and choose the better outcome. Okay, here is the roll. And he rolled a 6, so that saving throw will move him into the general hospital. So we'll send Rusty to the general hospital with an EKG marker on him. Now, one hit has to be applied to the Zeds, and we're going to take the 4 strength unit and get rid of that. And they've taken control of the nuclear plant, and we'll give them a chaos marker. All right. Now the remaining Zeds will activate, and we have a damaged one in Ingeborg, and that will move into Interstate 4 rather. And now that increased the hand-to-hand combat, increased the infection level by 1 up to 3. That track will activate again, and this time the damaged Zed in the nuclear plant is going to move into Interstate 2, and it's going to devour those fleeing refugees. They can make a saving throw though, and we'll try it. Rolls a 3, so they failed, and that's going to put them into the cemetery, and the devouring is going to raise the infection by 2. It's up to 5. The other unit will move into the nuclear plant, and that track has activated twice. That and the tunnel track are becoming a problem. All right, now the tunnel track is going to activate, and we'll begin with the damaged Zed in Red Labs 1, and he's going to assault the town center, which gets a 2 shift to the right movement. He gets 1 shift to the left for his leadership ability. So we've got right now, it'll be attacking at human advantage. Human advantage. We gain 2 shifts, moving us up to human times 3, and then back 1 for the leader ability of that Zed unit. So we're at human times 2. And this is really a critical roll here. Hopefully we can roll high. Here's the roll. We rolled a 10. And that is 3 Zed losses, none for us, and they have to withdraw. So 3 Zed losses, 1, 2, and 3 will get rid of them. So they've exhausted that entire force with nothing to show for it. That was great. All right, it's going to raise the infection level up to 6, and now the other Zeds are going to move. We've got this Super Zed will move into Red Labs 1, and now we have to roll for each of the catacomb units. We'll begin with the Super Zed. Let's see what he's going to do. He rolls a 3, and that is a normal move, so he'll move into the security guard post. And we'll try this damaged Zed. He rolls a 3. He would move, but he can't. So he'll stay there. The 6 strength Zed. Same thing because of the stacking limit. And finally the 4 strength Zed. That's a 6, and that is lost. So we'll make a roll and see where he comes out. He's going to come out on Red Labs 2. He can't do that. So he'll be right back where he started from. That's going to be the Zed's activations. We will get 3 activation points, and we'll see what we can do with that. Well, I'm going to begin with using one of our activations, and we're going to get Rusty Staub repaired. He's off the EKG monitor now at least, so he's just damaged. I think I'm going to use Sheriff Hunt's leadership ability, and we're going to activate that force, and I think we'll get them moving, and I'm going to try to get them up the forest track. The speed of one of those civilians units is 2, so they've got 2 movement points, and we'll move them. They'll move 1 and 2 into Route 1. Now, we definitely have a problem on this tunnel track. That is that Zed that can recover each turn. Recovers a damage point each turn. So even if we are to damage that thing, that's not good. Not good. I think we're going to spend another point in activation, and we're going to heal Rusty Staub, and then we can discharge him. Got to get something to help block that unit from entering that town center basement. We got to move one of those units out though in order to make room to get him in there because of the stacking limit. Well, I suppose we'll spend an action, and I'm going to move this security guard unit 1 into the town center. It'll create some space there at least. I'm going to use Deputy Schmidt's initiative token, and we'll activate him for movement. Deputy Schmidt has a movement value of 4, so we'll try to get him back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's at the bridge. Well, all we have left is the player action token, and we're going to have to figure out something here. I think I'm going to use the player action token to move Sheriff Hunt. We'll activate him for movement, and we'll move him into the downtown district. He'll get a 2-column shift for any attacks there. And I could move him to Interstate 1, but that would be just inviting an attack there. So I think we'll keep him back to the downtown area. And that is going to complete the round, I believe. We'll move on to the housekeeping phase. We'll reclaim our tokens, and we'll get ready for the next event. Well, stuff's starting to unwind here. It's not good for us. Right here is our next event. And this one is Chaos Runs Rampant. Okay, we've got 1 4R. So let's see what we can do with that. And I guess we'll activate this fleeing refugee from the mountain trail into East Side. There's no infection phase and 0 on the eat. The Zeds are going to activate now the mountain track, the tunnel track, and the highway track. It says here, each named space that becomes Zeds controlled this turn will receive 2 chaos markers instead of 1. Okay. We'll begin with the mountain track. Mountain track will activate, and this 2-strength Zed is going to attack Big Wheels at the Lucky Strike mine. It's going to be at human times 2, and then we're going to gain a shift for the defensive benefits of the mine, so we're at human times 3. This one shouldn't be too bad for us. Here is the roll. Rolled a 7, and that is 3 damage to the Zeds. That'll take that unit out. 1, 2, and 3. So that Zed is destroyed. That's great. That is the extent of that mountain track. We'll move on to the tunnel track. Tunnel track is going to activate, and that is going to be this Super Zed is going to move into the town center basement. Right now we have Zed's advantage, and we're going to gain 2-column shift for the defensive benefits of that area. We're at human advantage right now. And here is going to be the roll. It's going to raise the infection level up by 1. And I think I have to raise that also up for that. No, we don't have to. Big Wheels did not need to. He doesn't raise the infection level. That's right. Okay, so we're good here. Infection level's at 7. Here is the roll, and we are at human advantage. The roll is a 9. And that is 3 damage to the Zed, 1 to us, and the Zeds have to retreat. So 3 damage, 1, 2, and 3. That will flip that unit. We're going to gain 1 damage. And we hold the field. Now that Reanimator Zed is going to heal 1 point every time that it is activated. We'll move on to the next grouping. The Zed would like to move, but it can't because of the stacking limit. And we'll have to make a roll for the other Zeds in the catacombs. We'll start out with this damage Zed. Rolls a 4, and it's going to remain where it is. The 6-strength Zed would move, but it can't because of the stacking. Next is the 4-strength Zed. rolls a 3, and that would move, but once again it can't. So that will finish the tunnel track. We'll move on to the highway track now. All right, the highway track will activate. That Zed will move into Interstate 1, and this damaged Zed will move into Interstate 2. They haven't placed any chaos markers, so we don't have to worry about the double chaos occurring, which is great. That's going to finish their activations. We have 2 activation points, and let's see what we're going to do. Well, I think we're going to use this opportunity to get Big Wheels moving, and we'll use an activation there, and we'll activate him for movement. That track is clear. We'll move him all the way up to the mountain track area where he's going to load up his trailer. I think our next action will be to use Deputy Schmidt's initiative token. We'll activate him for movement, and he's going to move 1, 2, and 3 to the town center basement. That'll be a little bit stronger defense there, and be nice to be able to get some hits on that thing to attempt to get rid of it, because otherwise it's going to reanimate every time that it activates. And I think we're going to reactivate Big Wheels. I'm going to spend another action, and we'll activate him for movement. He has 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He moves to the campground. And I think we're going to do it. I'm going to use the player action token, activating him once again. He'll move into the town center. 1, 2, 3 into the town center. He was loaded, so we're going to gain 5 supplies and 3 ammo. He's now unloaded. It's going to move our supplies up to 10 and our ammunition up to 4. And Sheriff Hunt is going to use his leadership token that he has in the downtown area, and we'll spend that. He's going to activate a unit adjacent to him, which will be, no, it has to be a civilian's unit. He can't do that. All right, so we can't do that. All right, well, if that's the case, we can't use Sheriff Hunt's leadership token. I think that's all the actions we're going to take this turn. We'll go to our housekeeping phase, and we'll get ready for another event draw. Okay, our next event is, what? There's more? Okay, well, we're going to get 2 4-hour actions to start out with. Okay, we'll take one of those, and we'll have this fleeing refugee in East Side enter the town center area. So that's going to get moved into the refugee camp. And it's going to raise the infection level by 1. We're up to 8. But we get to draw one of those rumor tokens. And we'll just pick this one here, and we'll see what happens with that. All right, we're going to draw a fate card, and that rumor token is going to go on the space with the strongest Zed or strongest Zed mob on that track. Fate card is the highway. Okay, and we have a hold for later card here, so it's going to go on the highway track. So that is going to go on the strongest Zed on the highway track, which is going to be this Interstate 1. That's where it goes. So if we go there, we can flip it over and find out what it entails. It says the grim determination at last stand. Hold for later. Play after a Zed's unit attacks and wins. Change the combat result to 1 hit to the attacking Zeds and the Zeds retreat. Well, that's a pretty good card. We will hang on to that for sure. So we will put that in our collection of cards. All right. We've got one more 4R point left, and I guess we will use that on the forest track, and we'll move that fleeing refugee to Route 1. All right. All right, we've got no infection phase. Each phase we have to roll a die, and currently we have 1 refugee in the refugee camp. So We'll have to make a die roll. On a result of 1, we'll have to spend a supply. All right. Okay, here is the roll. The roll is a 1. You would absolutely believe it. And we'll have to consume a supply. We're down to 9. Now all Zeds are going to activate. At the beginning of this phase, return each Zed's unit on a named space to its full strength, and then remove all hit markers from Zed units. Oh boy. So we begin with returning each Zed unit on a named space to its full strength side. Okay, let's examine each track. We've got the forest track, and that's a named space in St. Thomas, so that'll be returned to full strength side. Okay. On the mountain track, there's no one there. On the highway track, we've got no Zeds in named spaces. On the tunnel track, we have no Zeds that are not in a named space that would require healing. No Zeds on the suburbs track. Okay, so, and then now we would remove all hit markers from Zed units. So any Zeds that have hits are going to be, those markers will be removed. Looks like it's just those 2. And now each track is going to activate. We'll start with the forest track. So the forest track is going to activate. We've got a 8 strength Zed mob moving into the farm area, and chaos is going to result. Move on to the mountain track. The mountain track, there is no one there, so we're going to be drawing a Zed, placing it at the most advanced chaos location. It's going to be the Lucky Strike Mine, and a 4 strength Zed will appear there. Highway track is next, and this 2 strength Zed in Interstate 1 is going to advance in the downtown area, and it will attack. Right now we are at human advantage, and we're going to get a 2-column shift to the right, giving us human times 3. Let's see what happens. Okay, here is the roll. Roll's a 9. A 9 is 3 Zed losses, none for us, and that's going to take that Zed out 1, 2, and 3. And it'll remove the Zed. It's going to increase the affection level by 1 to 9. Now the other Zed is going to move forward. It'll complete the highway track activation. All right, now the tunnel track is going to activate, and when this Super Zed activates, it repairs 1 damage. So it's going to move from its reduced side to its full strength side with 2 hits. And now it's going to activate, and it will enter the town basement area, increasing the infection to 10, and we're right now at Zeds, it's even, equal to. We're going to gain 2 shifts for the human, giving us human times 2. So we'll make the roll and see what happens. Okay, here's the roll. Roll's a 9, and that is 3 Zed losses, none for us. All right, 3 losses. 1 loss will flip it over, and then 2 more losses will send it back into retreat. All right. The other Zeds behind will attempt to move. They can't. And we'll do a roll for the catacombs. Start out with the 3. A 6, he's lost. Let's see where he comes out. Comes out in 5, so he's going to come out in the catacombs in that location. 4 strength Zed will attempt to move normally. He can't. And then the 6 strength Zed. A 5. He will remain where he is. That's going to complete that activation. And finally we have the suburbs track. There's no Zeds there. There's no chaos marker, so that will be placed on the suburbs track starting space. We'll draw a token, and that one becomes a 2 strength Zed there. Okay, that's something we can handle at least. All right. That'll complete the Zeds activations. We're going to get 2 activations for ourselves. Well, I think we're going to begin by using Deputy Schmidt's initiative token. We're going to spend that, and he's going to make a gunfire attack against that damaged Super Zed in Red Labs 1. Maybe we can kill this thing and be done with it. Otherwise, it's going to keep rejuvenating. So we've got a 4 strength attack, and we're going to get 2d6 roll. Here is the roll. We rolled a 3, and that is no effect. So that's spent 1 ammunition. I think we're going to try another attack using an action and another ammo, and we'll try it again. See if we can take this thing out. Rolled a 7, and that time we have 2 hits, and that's enough to take it out. That will permanently remove that Super Zed from the board. That's great. I think I'm going to spend an action, and we're going to activate Sheriff Hunt in downtown area, and he's going to launch a counterattack into Interstate 1. It's 3-1, so that is our combat odds. We'll see if he can get a victory here. 3-1, human times 3. He rolled a 3, and that is 2 Zed losses, 1 for us, and the Zeds have to retreat. Oh boy. All right, so 2 Zed losses. The Zed unit will have to retreat. We're going to take 1 loss, and Sheriff Hunt does have his toughness ability, and if we can roll a 4, 5, or 6, that will stop the hit from coming in. Here's the roll. He failed, so we'll have to make a saving throw for him. And on a 1, 2, or 3, he goes to the cemetery. That's what happened. He's going to go to the cemetery, and we've lost Sheriff Hunt. So we never had the opportunity to reveal that rumor token yet. These Zeds now have retreated to Interstate 2. Well, we have our player action token remaining, and I'm going to use that. I think we're going to get Bob Bowers' crew moving. They have a movement of 3, and I think we'll move them up the highway track to Interstate 1. Maybe we can examine that rumor token that's there. Costs an action to do that, so we'll have to wait till next round. But I think that's all we're going to be able to accomplish with this turn. We'll do our housekeeping phase. I'll reclaim the tokens we've got. And we're ready for our next event draw. This time we've got a breach from below. Okay, we've got 1 on our 4Rs. And I guess we'll use that to move this refugee unit to 2nd Street on the suburbs track. We have to make an infection roll, and our infection level's at 10, so that's not too good. Here's the roll. We've rolled a 10. Okay, so we're going to reduce our infection to 0, but we're going to have an outbreak. And the outbreak is going to occur on the track with the fewest Zed units. All right. And that would be the suburbs track. It has 1 unit. The highway track has 1 unit. And the mountain track has 1. So we can pick which one we want. And I guess we'll put that on the suburbs track. And that is a 5 strength Zed will appear on the start space. There is a 2 strength Zed there already, so it's a 7 strength Zed mob. Now the eat phase, we have to roll a die. We have 1 refugee in the refugee camp. Here's the roll. Rolls a 4, so we're good with that. Now we're going to have a double activation on the tunnel track. Now this fate card is hold for later. Play at any time. Spend an ammo for an immediate reduction of 5 infection level. All right. Well, we won't need that for right now. Infection level's at 0. So we've got a double activation on the tunnel track, and it says Zeds stumble out of the tunnel into Farmingdale. At the end of this phase, all Zeds units on the following tunnel track spaces attempt to move. Make a catacombs roll first. Space 7 to the university space, space 6 to the nuclear plant, space 4 to the mine, spaces 3 and 5 to the farm space. If there is no room, they remain where they are. Okay. So, this will happen at the end of the phase. Alright, so the tunnel track is going to activate twice. Now we've got this Berserker Super Zed. During the first activation, he's going to move into Red Labs 1, and there's no battle there, so he can't continue fighting, at least for this portion of the turn. And we'll go on to the next grouping. We'll roll for the Catacombs, the 4-strength Zed in the Catacomb. Rolls a 1, and he would move normally. Actually, it should have been the 6th strength. We always roll the higher strength first. And then the 4-strength Zed is a 4, and it's remaining where it is. And then finally, this Zed will move into Dr. Martus's office. That's the first activation. Now the second activation. This Zed is going to attempt to enter the town center basement. Right now, it is at Zed's advantage. We're going to gain 2 movement for defense. We're at human advantage. And here's the roll. Deputy Schmidt has his work cut out for him. He rolls a 7, and that is 2 Zeds wounds, 1 to us, and the Zeds have to retreat. So the Zeds will take 2 wounds. They have to retreat. We're going to take 1. Deputy Schmidt can use his tough ability. 4, 5, or 6, he can ignore it. And he's done it. So no wound there. This other Zed would attempt to move, it can't. Zed in the Catacomb will roll for him. Rolls a 3, he would move normally, but he can't. Finally, this Zed in Dr. Martus's office will move into the Catacombs. That'll be both activations, and now the rest of that card is going to come into play. The Breach from Below. And the Zeds will stumble out of the tunnel into Farmingdale. And space 7 would move to the university track, space 6, space 5, space 4, spaces 3 and 5 would move to the farm. Okay, so there would be no room to move these 2 to the farm, so they're going to remain where they are, and that's not too bad. That could have been worse for us. We're going to get 3 activations, and that completes the Zeds activation. Well, we have 3 activations available, and I think what we'll do is I'm going to spend 1 activation and 1 supply. We're going to use Bob Bowers' crew to build a barricade in Highway 1. So we'll get a barricade out, and that will help a little bit. Place a barricade there. I think for our next action we will activate Deputy Schmidt using his initiative token. And we're going to have him do a gunfire attack on the Zeds in Red Labs 1. That'll spend 1 ammo. We're down to 1 ammo. And he has a gunfire attack of 4. Here's the roll. Rolled an 8. 2 hits. Okay, so 2 hits. 1 more is going to flip that unit, and another one will place a wound on it. All right. Okay, we're getting low on ammo, so I think what we'll do is, it's a tough one. I'm thinking about trying to launch a counterattack with Rusty Staub, have him move in there, and he would be at even 2. Otherwise, I can try to launch another gunfire attack with Deputy Schmidt. Well, I guess that would be the safer play. We'll spend another action and an ammo. We'll make a gunfire attack on that Zeds unit in Red Labs 1. Maybe we can get rid of that Super Zed. Here's the roll. Rolled a 6. A 6 is 1 hit. So we haven't gotten rid of them yet. There are 2 hits. We've got 1 action and the act player token left. And I wonder if we should just maybe do some repairs with big wheels. I think we might do that. Well, Big Wheels can do his repairs action. He's in the town center. And we'll spend a supply that'll move us down to 7. And we can repair a point of damage from him. And that'll help a little bit. We can only do 1 repair per turn. We still have 1 action left and the player action token. I think we're going to use our action and we're going to activate Big Wheels. And we'll have him try to maybe maul over those heavily damaged Zeds on the highway track. He can't enter the catacombs, so we can't do that. So I'll have him, he's empty. He has 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3. He enters the space. And we'll see if he can do a Zed's plow. We're looking for a 4, 5, or 6. He rolls a 5, so we've done a point of damage that will remove that Zed's unit. There's no rise to the infection level. And he moved 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll move him to Interstate 4. All right, we have our player action token remaining. And I suppose I'm going to spend that with Deputy Schmidt. And we'll activate him. I have no ammo left. Well, we'll have to think about that. I think instead of that, I'm going to have Rusty Staub activate. And he'll move 1 and 2. And he's going to enter Red Labs 1. And we're going to have a counterattack there. It'll be 4 to 4. Infection level will rise by 1, and we're taking a chance here, but we're at equal to right now. Here is the roll. Let's see if Rusty can do it. He rolls a 7, and that is 2 hits each, and the Zeds have to withdraw. 2 hits will kill the Super Zed. That's going to permanently eliminate that unit, and Rusty's going to have to take 2 hits. Rusty has his rugged ability, so we can forego a hit on a roll of 5 or 6. Here's the 2 dice. He stopped 1, so 1 is going to get through. That will flip him to his wounded side, and that's going to end the round. And I think I'm going to end the video here. I'm still not fully recovered yet from this chest cold I have, but we'll regroup for a 4th episode, and we'll see if we can plug along and see if we can stop these Zeds from entering Farmingdale. Thanks so much for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club. I hope you're enjoying this playthrough, and I look forward to seeing you again in the near future. Hopefully the video will be sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching. This is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off, wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.